Welcome to Connect with County Leaders. Here's your host, Bryan Hill.
Hello and welcome to Connect with County Leaders. I'm Bryan Hill. On this edition of the podcast, I'm joined by Daniel Mekibib, Director of Workforce Development Programs within Fairfax County Government. Daniel, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Well, again, you're doing such a great job with workforce development, but there's probably a lot of residents that don't quite understand what that is. So tell us what workforce development is in the world of Daniel and how it impacts Fairfax County.
So workforce development, a good way to look at it is a system of care where we bring together policies, programs, and partnerships. The goal is to create economic opportunities for our residents and also make sure that it is responsive to the county's businesses who are looking for talent.
So when you say economic mobility, Tony Zelikofer, Director Michael Beckett's, Lloyd Tucker from NCS, Michael Beckett's from DFS, the Department of Family Services, NCS, is Neighbor and Community Services, and our Chief Equity Officer are doing a mobility impact scenario for the Board of Supervisors. I know you've been involved with that. Tell us a little bit about what you've seen with our guaranteed income.
With our guaranteed income, what we are trying to pilot is, focusing on the ALICE population. ALICE stands for Asset Limited, Income Constrained, but Employed. These are the individuals who work multiple jobs, but struggle to make ends meet. So we're piloting what it would look like when they have a guaranteed some expected income, and I think that is an experiment that has been happening in many parts of the country. In Fairfax, we know that it works, but we're trying to understand how it works. And this is a population of interest, as you know, for us.
So 27% of Fairfax County residents are asset limited. People don't understand that. 27% of 1.2 million people. So the question is, how do we kind of make that 26% and then 25% and then 24%. When I look at affordable housing, I'm also trying to figure out, well, if workforce housing is not affordable housing or affordable housing is not workforce housing, how are we blending the two? So this mobility pilot, income pilot, has been a great, I would say, understanding for us to know what's happening with individuals within Fairfax County. When you look at the ALICE population and the affordable housing that we're presenting, because we have the Board of Supervisors has a goal of a certain amount of housing by 2030 and 2035, How do you see all this blending together?
Yeah, that's an important, because when we look at the ALICE population, one of the major household expenditures is housing, and of course you have childcare and others. But I think we're doing a great job in expanding the supply side of the equation, expanding affordable housing. But I think there is also work that needs to be done on the demand side, how we can increase the purchasing power, the economic power of households. And if we look at the ALICE population, some of the interesting features is, what makes them in that ALICE threshold is underemployment, for example. Underemployment basically means individuals working fewer hours that they would like to, or working in jobs that don't utilize their skills. So that is where we come and help them to get from underemployment to full employment.
You say purchasing power, and that is the key to ALICE population, and that's the key to all population.
That's right.
You also say underemployment, housing, childcare, and we need to have affordable housing. So we're building the residents too. Supervisor Walkinshaw, Braddock District, has provided what I call the lead and the push to build another affordable housing complex within Fairfax County, which will have a childcare center associated with it. But when you say purchasing power and underemployment, when I look at ALICE, there's a population segment in a portion of the county where 60% of residents have a degree in their home country. They're underemployed because they don't have the skill sets to be able to do the same job in this country, so that means they need the certifications. So we're working with Northern Virginia Community College to ensure that they can get to a place. So for instance, if it's a lawyer in El Salvador, maybe it can become a paralegal first, which will provide them with the purchasing power. That is, in my view, workforce development, the way we have to do workforce development part 2, because there's a part 1 and a part 2, right? There's the folks that live here and the folks that are coming here. have you seen an influx of folks coming here that you've had to deal with, and when I say deal with, have to work with?
No, absolutely. I think that's a very good example of a segment of the ALICE population is individuals who earned their credentials in foreign countries and struggling to find ways on how to rebuild their professional careers. Like the example, in other examples that we typically work with medical professionals, say for example a nurse who earned their credentials, they're practicing nurses in their home country, but when they come here, if they don't know how to rebuild, how to go about rebuilding their professional career, that is where we come in. We just work with them. There is a credential evaluation. There are established agencies that do, an evaluation for U.S. equivalency of their credentials. We help them do that. Sometimes they have to take exams that's required by licensing boards in those professions. We help them to get connected to them and also, support them depending on their situation to get the exams and get situated in those jobs. So instead of working in jobs that doesn't utilize those credentials, we help them to transition to full employment jobs.
So that is an excellent example of who has come here. Now we have the federal workforce. We have all this upheaval going on. Many of our federal workers are losing their jobs because they're reducing force. How often have you had to deal with a federal worker coming back and trying to figure out how to come back into the workforce? So for instance, I was at Mount Olive Baptist Church. Pastor Wilkins and I I think he did a really good job of kind of couching where his community is in that part of the county. And we had maybe 500 people there, maybe?
That's right.
Many of them were federal workers. And some of them said to me that they don't get an opportunity to work at Fairfax County because their work is so narrow and we're so broad, because we're kind of like where the tire hits the road. We do all the hard leg work. We are the service support. How are we trying to transition them and understand that their width and breadth has to grow to come work here?
Yeah, I think that's an important focus area, and we have actually an internal task force that is working to streamline and make sure that we're doing the right thing by this county residents. And so typically what we do is we show some empathy, understanding their situations. Many of them have never imagined they will find themselves in this situation. So show empathy and understanding of the level of expertise they come with, and then just helps them reimagine themselves in a place, non-federal, and sometimes in jobs that they may not necessarily be aligned with the titles they held when they were working for the federal. So those transferable skills, that's what we help them understand and convert them to employers with local or state nonprofits or private sector. Yeah. And we've had some great success in helping them transition.
I've spoken to several groups about workforce development. Thank you for a lot of the notes you provide me, and thank you for your team for doing such a great job. But then I got this little thing called A&I, right? And I've tell folks, it's not going to take your job, but it is going to augment your job, and we need to get our skills upskilled as opposed to downskilled to ensure that you are still viable. So the federal workforce, the ALICE population, there's so many things that are happening at the same time. It's like a confluence of stream of thought here. AI, reduction in force in the federal government, coming from another country, you're a doctor, but you're not certified. We have so many things and so many opportunities here, but the question is, how are you working with local government and local businesses to help push these young people, these people forward?
Yes, I mean, one of the major shifts what we're paying attention to is, this technological shifts, whether it is, Gen AI or agentic AI or, automation in general. Yeah. I think sometimes people focus on the displacement effect of AI, which is true, and we have to pay attention to that. But we're also looking at the opportunities it provides, because all these tools that we see, being currently utilized in changing the place of work, we're trying to help individuals take advantage of. I think the most important thing is our county residents positioned to take advantage of them. So that's where, One Fairfax and the equity priorities come into play. We want to make sure that everyone, we do not want technology to make inequities even worse.
Correct. So before we go into One Fairfax, In 2017, 2016, that policy came about. Rest in peace, Supervisor Kathy Hudgens and current Chairman Jeff McKay put out a policy of One Fairfax. When I came on board, they asked me to infuse One Fairfax into the county government. The vehicle was a county-wide strategic plan. So, when I look at what we're doing with the county-wide strategic plan, how is that impacting your work? Because we have dashboards, we have metrics, we have data. How is that helping you move forward or coming up with a more creative approach?
By the way, thank you for affording me the opportunity to work as part of the interagency experts who were working on the economic opportunity outcome area. Mm-hmm. That was really excellent, and I think it has many benefits, and one of the ways is it sets priorities. It shows us where to focus on, not as a single agency, but all agencies that touch on economic opportunities and upward economic mobility. So it does, both the dashboards and the priorities set in those areas, they help set the pace, set the priorities, and also help us to target demographic and geographic areas that we need to pay attention to based on, for example, the vulnerability index, and also the opportunities based on emerging sectors, mm-hmm. what's coming, so that our efforts are responsive to the needs, but also to the opportunities.
Well, I hope you and your team are working in hand with Rebecca Maldry in DEI, Department of Economic Initiatives, using those dashboards to help focus in on our small businesses, because our small businesses make up about 94% of total businesses in Fairfax County, which is our economic lifeblood. We need to make sure that our folks are working for those people. And I really, really want to thank you for all the work you're doing. But with those dashboards, how can we use those dashboards to further push our goal in making sure we have less Alice, we have more empowerment of financial resources, we have more home ownership? Those are the types of things that we're looking at. And with our county-wide strategic plan and focusing in on all of our indexes, how are you using those dashboards to help you push our movement forward?
Yeah, you talked of partnership. I think partnership is key. Mm-hmm. In this, we look at workforce more of as an ecosystem, and in that ecosystem we have key partners, and Department of Economic Initiatives is one of our key partners. So with them and other entities, for example, Talent Hub, Fairfax, I think that was a very creative initiative between the Department of Economic Initiatives and DFAs, handling both the small businesses looking to hire and also individuals whose talents were overlooked or underemployed. And that was just one pilot that informed us, different ways we can tackle this challenge. So, and it also leveraged the data, the dashboards, informing us where we need to focus on in terms of both the business side of things and also the job seeker side of things. So it is very critical, and we are on a regular basis looking at this data to help shape how we do and where we do it.
So you're looking at the data. Thank you for that. You worked on the countywide strategic plan because you were not in a bucket, because we do things in buckets and silos. Mm-hmm. We're trying to break those silos. Right. You were in a totally different area, trying to understand the economic workforce issues with economic mobility, with the countywide effective and efficient government. So we're trying to change up how we're doing business, because when you make a decision, I wanted you to understand how many other layers your decision made. That being said, what is your advice to federal workers or just anybody in Fairfax County who are looking for employment or struggling to find employment? What's your advice to them?
I think currently the labor market is a little bit tight. We understand that, but there are still opportunities out there. So the most important thing is for individuals to go back and look at those transferable skills. Mm-hmm. What were the things that helped you succeed in your job? And how can you sell, how can you present yourself to opportunities elsewhere? And especially for the ones on the federal side, I think once they have identified those skills, we help them to craft their resumes, mm-hmm. the federal resumes typically are longer and have a certain format, and they're not necessarily in the right shape for non-federal employees. So we help them craft that. As a matter of fact, we have in-person and live sessions that we work with individuals, and some of our recordings that are much more watched and by our county residents are on the resume workshop. So we help them to make, and of course we present them to employment opportunities. The recent job fair we had here at the Government Center, it attracted about 1,500 job seekers and about 70 employers and resource partners. And many of them were either federal employees or contractors, and also they had opportunities to work with some employers who were looking at the specific qualities that federal employees bring, including security clearance.
So I got a couple more questions for you. So how important is collaboration with other partners in advancing workforce development goals? Because without the partners, we can't advance the goals. We can speak it, we can talk it, but we need to basically bring them together so we can move it. And I'm going to give you an example of what I'm doing.
Sure.
After you answer this question, I'm going to tell you something that I'm doing that I need you to help me out with.
All right. So
putting you on the spot.
That's fine. I think partnership is key.
Yeah.
Whether it is with county agencies or nonprofit partners and regional partners, including the Skilled Source Group and EDA, we have several partners in this space. So we do everything in partnership. And we're open to possibilities. For example, one thing that we're looking at is, we have 4 workforce centers, Reston, Fairfax, Annandale, and the South County area. Individuals, we see about 500 individuals coming to our centers every week. But we are also looking at, especially with ALICE population in mind, how can we bring some of the services to our public libraries who are much more closer to the neighborhoods. The idea is not only geographic proximity, but also even making some of these hiring events and one-on-one sessions, workshops to the public libraries, after hours and Saturdays, so that the working poor can have access to the services easier. So that requires partnership. That's the same thing with NCS. You have young people coming for after-school activities or older youth who are disconnected from employment or education. How can we introduce workforce programming for those? So we're having this conversation so that we can leverage existing resources with our partners. So partnership is key.
So I'm going to say this to you, and after we get off camera, I'm going to tell you the entire thought process here.
Sure.
But I'm just going to tease it for you. I have a company who I want to place in Annandale, because Annandale is the cultural hub of Fairfax County, according to a certain supervisor. I'm just saying, he says that a lot.
Okay.
This company is going to do skill development to ensure that they can have a workforce to move forward. I will need space, and I'll need you to help me kind of coordinate within the two. If that works, I think we have an opportunity to talk to other companies to do the same thing. So this is a very segmented field, but they need bodies, and they're still looking for bodies. Problem is, people are underemployed and don't know these things exist, and we got to figure out a better way to communicate to our residents that there are opportunities for us. But maybe if we can basically locate a skill source type of entity to help this company move forward. And I'm going to move forward with this to see, because I need metrics. I like to know how many people go through the process and actually get a job and maintain a job. And then juxtapose that against the ALICE population, because they are part of that,
right,
to see if we start seeing changes from our ALICE population, because 27% on 1.2 million is a lot.
Look, DFS, we have a mission-driven leadership, and our workforce professionals are highly qualified. They maintain national credentials on working with businesses and job seekers. So, and they're mission-driven. Okay. We're always looking for opportunities to expand economic opportunities for our residents.
So this is your opportunity to tell me, as a county leader, and you speaking for workforce development, what can county leaders do to help you push your mission forward?
Well, I think the first thing is just continue to do what you're doing. With a strategic plan, the economic opportunities outcome area and efficient government, all those are really helping us to do what we do best. I think I would encourage us to continue to do that. But I think the other couple of things I would say is just elevating workforce. I mean, something that we hear a lot is that we are the best kept secret of the county, and which we don't appreciate in the sense that we would like to be known and utilized. So small businesses, business associations. So I would encourage our county leaders, again, to come see in action what is happening, and also make sure that the community understands the value we bring to our residents and to our businesses. We're looking at celebrating Workforce Professional Month come in October. So we'd like to use that to elevate the role workforce development plays in upward economic mobility. So we would like support as we pursue those opportunities, and collaborative opportunities like the ones I mentioned.
So the challenge I'm going to give you today
Sure.
is that you need to send me notes every now and then so I can send notes back to you. So you and I are always on the same page. We see each other. We talk about the kids. Congratulations on the UVA soon-to-be graduate.
Thank you.
Congratulations on the young man, soon-to-be a freshman. I can't believe that. I remember when he was about that tall, so I'm
That's
like,
right.
wow, he's probably taller than me now. But thank you for this time today, because people don't know what we do here in Fairfax County from the totality of the things that we do, the services that we provide. But right now, you are a critical linchpin to making sure that our economic viability for our residents continues as we go through all this, I should say, governmental strife that's being created elsewhere. So thank you for all you do, my friend.
Thank you so much.
Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Connect with County Leaders podcast. I want to thank my friend Daniel Mekibib, Assistant Division Director for Workforce Development in our Department of Family Services, for being here with me today. And thanks to you for joining us. I look forward to talking with you again next month on another episode of Connect with County Leaders. And Daniel, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
All right, my friend. Tell your family I said hello now.
Will do.
I want to talk to the soccer guy.
Will do.
All right. All right.
All right.
Thank you, brother.